Lois Casboult needed to get to hospital. She's 91 and had a bad fall that left her with a broken pelvis, terrible bruising on her face and bleeding on the brain. Paramedics arrived quickly to the great-grandmother's home in regional Victoria. She was assessed by a doctor online who decided she wasn't eligible for an ambulance. This is how Lois looked after her fall. Take a moment. She was in so much pain, her daughter Jan decided to drive her to hospital herself and says doctors were horrified when she arrived. I spoke to Jan a short time ago. Jan is outside Warrigal Hospital in regional Victoria. Jan, we are so sorry to hear about your mum. You've just been with her. How is she?
As well as can be expected. She's sleeping a lot, but she's still in a lot of pain.
And how about you? Because it has been such an ordeal.
It's been absolutely terrifying, actually, because Mum's had a lot of health issues over the years, but this was probably the worst that we've seen. Yeah, just finding her on the floor the other night was just terrifying.
Oh, that's it, right? I mean, that must have been so traumatising to see her like that. Just to explain, she's in the granny flat out the back of your place. You found her when you were delivering her dinner. Do you have any idea how long she'd been on the floor?
I'd say she's been there about an hour, so I brought her dinner over and saw blood everywhere, and then saw her on she'd crawled somehow across the other side of the room trying to get to her phone. She couldn't reach up for a phone because it was too painful. So I got straight on the phone to the ambulance and, yeah, they came and assessed her.
OK, so they arrived pretty quickly. What did they say about her injuries?
Well, they were concerned about the bleeding and they were concerned about why she fell. So they said they would ring a virtual doctor. They were on the phone for quite a while waiting for him to get online. And then he looked at the photos of Mum and then he asked questions. He had her medical history in front of him, knew that she had a bad heart and everything. And yeah, then basically said, oh, they gave her a test for concussion and he felt that she didn't warrant ambulance into the hospital.
Ooh, you've almost got to take a deep breath when you say that, right? It was a doctor online who decided she didn't need the ambulance. We now know that she had bleeding on her brain. How can a doctor know that when they're not seeing her in person?
Well, he actually said we should get her into the hospital because there could be bleeding behind the eye. So, and he said she'd probably need stitches or glue in her head. So, yeah, he said that she would have to go to the hospital, but he wasn't prepared to recommend an ambulance.
So no ambulance for your mum. Could you believe what you were hearing?
No, I definitely couldn't because we've called the ambulance for her before and they've always, because of her history, her medical history, they've always, you know, put her straight in and brought her down to the hospital.
Yeah. So you were told they could organise a patient transport vehicle, but why did you decide to drive her yourself?
Well, they told me that, because I said I'd really like the ambulance to take her and they said they couldn't because they were the only one on call. And then they said they could organise a patient transport, but it would probably take a while. So they said it would be a lot quicker if I took her myself. So then my husband and the paramedics had to carry her into the car and she was obviously in a lot of pain. Put her in the car and then we drove her down. And luckily here at the hospital they took her straight in, took one look at her and the nurse nearly died, I think, when she saw her face.
Yeah. Does it break your heart that this has happened? We're talking about your mum.
It does break my heart. It's, you know, that they think that they can do an online consultation and that replaces a face-to-face consultation, and they can be so really blasé about a 91-year-old woman with multiple injuries. You know, it's just, I just couldn't believe it. I mean, she looked terrible. I mean, you've seen the photo. Yeah. I mean, anyone seeing that would think she needed medical care in a hospital urgently.
And look, we all understand that there are limited resources. Not everyone who calls an ambulance is going to go to hospital in one. But when you have a 91-year-old frail old lady with a head wound and in pain, we now know that was a broken pelvis, surely that is a no-brainer, Jan. Just get her to hospital.
Well, the fact that they were there for about an hour too, they could have used that time to transport her to hospital much earlier than waiting for the online consultation. I mean, to me, that system just doesn't work.
So Ambulance Victoria and the Health Minister both stand by the decisions made in regards to your mum's care. How do you feel about that?
I listened to Jacinta Allen talking about how everything was done. She actually got angry at the opposition for bringing this up and made it a political thing. And I would like to say to the Health Minister and the Premier, what would you do if it was your 91-year-old mother? How would you feel to see her lying on the floor with blood everywhere, bruising all over her face, and then, you know, dismiss it basically and say, I'll get her into hospital yourself? I mean, it's disgusting. I just can't believe it.
Yeah, because you know what, this isn't about politics, is it?
No, it shouldn't be Labor versus Liberal. No, it shouldn't be. And it should be about improving the system, you know, and if it's not working, do something about it and make it more human. I mean, to me, they didn't treat Mum as a human being, you know. It was disgraceful. And I mean, the paramedics were lovely, they were really kind, they did what they could, but to me, they seemed to be virtually told that they couldn't take her to hospital because this doctor online had made this decision. And you know, I'm sure they would have taken her if left to their own devices.
Yeah. And you know what, Jen, I'm really glad you said that, because this isn't about the paramedics. They do an incredible job, as do all health workers. But as you said, it goes to a broader issue. And it's this idea, if you're hurt, you need to go to hospital. We expect when we call 000, that's exactly what happens. Do you have faith in the system after this?
Not at all. Look, we were in here on Friday with Mum had another health-related issue, and the Warrigal Hospital, they're so overstretched, and the staff here do a wonderful job. But Mum sat in a wheelchair for 7 or 8 hours waiting for care. And that's what I was scared of happening on Sunday. And as it turned out, everything happened really quickly and it was wonderful once she got into hospital. But, you know, after Friday's effort, I was worried that it would happen again.
Well, you know, the reason she was treated so quickly is when they took one look at her and realised she needed to see a doctor immediately. That's why. The Health Minister says Ambulance Victoria told her there were no resourcing issues in the area that night. But what did the paramedics tell you?
They said they were the only people on call in Druin and they had to be on call, so they couldn't transport Mum.
Effectively, they were worried that something else would happen, someone might have a heart attack and they'd need to be available. Exactly.
That was the implication I got, that maybe something more important might come up or more urgent, yeah.
And this is the problem we have with the system, right? The hospital's 10 minutes away, but if that ambulance did take your mum, they can't just drop her off and they've got to stay with her until a bed is found, and that could be their whole shift.
Yeah, exactly. And on Friday that was happening because they had no beds anywhere, and they would have had to have hung around. And yeah, if that was the situation on Sunday, that would have happened again.
In your eyes, what's the biggest failure here?
That's a really hard question. I just think listening to families, you know, I mean, if I tell someone about my mum's complex medical history and say I need help, it shouldn't be up to me to make that decision to take her into hospital. They should be providing sensible advice and you know, getting her into a hospital. I mean, she's 91, for goodness sake. I just can't believe that they would ignore that fact, you know. I mean, she's about 42 kilos, there's nothing of her. And it's just wrong. I mean, it just makes you scared about growing old, you know.
Jan, your mum sounds so beautiful. She deserved better, and we hope that she's recovering well. Can you please tell her we're all thinking of her and sending our love?
I will. Look, she's as tough as nails. She's been through a lot of things over the years and was never expected to make it to 91, but I'm sure she'll get through this as well, and I hope she does, because we all love her dearly.
Thanks, Jan. I really appreciate it.
OK, thanks, Ellie.
She did very well, Jan, and sadly we hear this story too often, don't we? A spokesperson for Victoria's Virtual Emergency Department told us while the online doctor did provide appropriate clinical care and advice, there will be a formal review of Lois's case.